It's a busy week. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna do this fast. Okay, I'm not gonna laugh. All right, TikTok question from Angela. My pup is good on leash. He walks on a nice loose leash a little bit in front of me. I like that he can sniff and kind of do his own thing. I do engage with him while walking, when he's walking nicely for a long period of time, like sit for food. But when there's another dog, there's no way I could get his attention. I could be the biggest clown, have the best treats in the world. I added in the world, but no attention goes to me. How should I handle it? That's such a good question, Angela. So here's the thing. If your puppy can walk like loose leash next to you and they're sniffing a little bit, if it's a puppy under 6 months old, I don't mind that. I'd say you're pretty lucky. But as I didn't get an age on there, try to put age and breed whenever you ask these questions. But anyway, as you start to work with your puppy more and your puppy gets more into adolescence, this minor problem of watching dogs and not caring about you, it will get bigger and it will get harder as your puppy gets older and becomes more independent minded, like an ornery teenager. So here's the thing. I do understand that there's a lot of trainers, or not a lot, there's actually not a lot, but there's some trainers that are like, let your puppy sniff, let your dog sniff on a walk. That's what being a dog is all about. I don't know, maybe in the country, maybe in rural areas that works, but we have seen the opposite. The more you let your dog or puppy sniff around, even if they're loose leash next to you, the more they sniff bushes, the more they just kind of do this, I'm the dog, I'm just sniffing around. The more they're allowed to do that, the harder it is to get their attention when something walks by that really matters, okay? So this is what I would like you to do. If you have a puppy under 6 months old, I'm not saying tell your puppy no and jerk the leash. That's not what I'm saying. But this is what I would like you to tweak. And it's a lot of friggin' work, you know, I'm not gonna lie. But next time, when your puppy starts to sniff, I want you to go, let's go, and do a turn, food, you know, sit, give food. Do something to engage your puppy out of that minor distraction. Because I'm sorry, but it is a distraction. We have seen better success when you allow your dog and puppy to sniff when they get scheduled free time, which you can do on a walk. So let's say you're walking around the block, okay? The first block, your puppy stays engaged with you. Every time they reach out to sniff a bush, let's go, sit, good, food, all right? Or just a turn, mix it up. Don't do the same thing every time. Sometimes continue to walk and pull the leash a bit. Let's go. Don't let them hesitate to sniff. That's the first block. And then at the end, I want you to do a sit and break or free or whatever word you use. You could say go potty if you wanted to. And they get 60 seconds to smell, and you just kind of stand there, be a tree, be a statue, and then go, let's go, and go back to what we consider to be a more structured heel for the next block. And then the next walk, mix up your smell spots. You don't want to do the same free smell spots every time, or they'll start to anticipate it and pull towards them. So anyway, this is what we have personally seen. It's a lot more work, and it can be more frustrating because it's more work, but this is what we've seen to make you more successful. So when that dog does go by, you have a much better chance. Because look at it this way. Let's look at the dog's state of mind here. Anytime you guys are confused about how to handle something, try to look at it from your dog's point of view. If I'm a dog and I don't rationalize and I learn off of instinct and habit associated with my people, if I can reach out and sniff a bush, why can't I reach out and sniff a dog and not really care much about what my owner has to say, right? So from their perspective, they don't individualize these things where, I can sniff, but I can't reach out and sniff a dog. They don't do that. That doesn't make sense to them. So everything has to be consistent. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to move on, but I hope that helps you, okay? All right, let's go to, I have lots of sheets here today. I was not kidding when I said that. All right, I've got an update from Katie Elliott. She asked last week. She's the one who had the Bernese Greater Swiss Mountain Dog puppy, 10 weeks old, was really obnoxious in crate, but wanted to be in the playpen all the time. So if you wanted to look back at last week, what our answer was to her, because listen to this crate got a little photo. This crate nap is 100% thanks to Bethany and Sparky. Please send them my thanks for their advice on helping our little puppy settle in his crate. I am so happy to hear that. Katie, I'm so happy to hear that, but I have a big disclaimer. I have a big disclaimer. So here's the thing, Katie, don't fall into this trap. Sparky and I have talked about this before, because this is what we hear a lot, and I'm super happy for you. I just have a big butt with quotation marks around it. Your puppy's only 10 weeks old, so you're gonna live in this woohoo for the next month or two, and it's gonna go better, and then you're gonna get freedom back. And then when your puppy turns 6 months, 7 months, 8 months old, you're gonna have this what's the word for it? But anyway, he's gonna backtrack, and you're gonna wonder, oh, you've been doing so good. Why are you having these problems again? It's because you loosened up, because things were going good for a month or two, and then you loosened up, and then things reverted back to the way they were. Well, with separation anxiety, you don't want to mess with that. So the reason I'm saying that is because we see that all the time. Puppies with what we would consider to be minor separation anxiety, they overcome it, and so at month 5 and 6, the owners start to get lax, and then by 7, 8, 9 months old, the dog is reverting pretty seriously with the anxiety. So I want you to stay strict for at least the first 2 years. Now, I'm not saying follow our structure schedule for 2 years. It's made for puppies. You do need to adapt that. But as far as being pretty strict in the way of how you run your household, the freedoms that your dog has, 2 years. Please don't be one of those people that have it 10 times worse later because their puppy was doing so good and they backed off. I know it's hard, but just take it from me. You don't want to do that. All right, moving on. Belinda is also from last week. She had a 3-month-old Cavapoo, and she was the one who said, she wished she'd read our blog first, struggling with separation anxiety. She says, I've been using a schedule with my puppy. I'm so happy to say both the potty training and separation anxiety are improving. Really happy to hear that, Belinda. However, there's a however. Now I'm struggling with biting. Whenever I let my puppy out for playtime or training with me, he ends up biting me. I've tried your 3-step technique without much success. Any further suggestions would be appreciated. Woo, she is holding my feet to the fire. Okay, so I've tried your 3-step technique. I think she's talking about Sparky's 3-strike rule that he goes over all the time, which is a couple of things to try, and then when it's not trying, put them in crate, give them a break, try again. And so, all right, I'll be honest, that 3-strike technique is geared just as much for the owners as it is for the dog, to give you a break and give everybody a break, because we like to be able to control things, and we get frustrated pretty easily as a species, let's face it. So us, not the dogs, us. So here's a few tips that I want you to try. This is a very young puppy, I think around 4 months old, and so let's look at a few things. You said playtime and training time. I want your puppy to be on a leash the moment they come out. Let's start regulating that dog's energy. This goes for any puppy, any dog that's having any arousal issues, which is all of them. So you're gonna use the crate door as spatial pressure, or the playpen. You can do it with a playpen gate too. But anyway, when you go to open that door and your puppy kind of is ready to come out, make sure you close it softly for a few times, and just kind of get the puppy thinking a little bit. So you just kind of open it 2 inches. You see that little nose poke out, close it softly. Do that 2-3 times. If the puppy is raring to go, you can do it more firmly. And try to get that puppy settled. Then squat down and do the whole thing again, because now you've squatted down and your puppy's ready to come out, okay? And then go to leash up your puppy. They try to squeeze out. Nope. And have them wait. Shut that. This is the crate door, by the way. Shut the crate door. Pause. Leash them up. Stand up holding the leash. Pause again. So start regulating your dog or puppy's energy much sooner. And you can use the crate door. That's what's giving you leverage to be like, hey, you need to slow down. You need to settle down. Now you bring your puppy out on leash, and let's say you do potty break and playtime. Let's make sure that you're using a tug toy that is long enough where you can grab, and there's plenty of room for the puppy to grab as well, okay? When you say playtime, I hope you mean interactive playtime, like working on drop it, good, to, break or fetch it up or whatever it is you're working on. Because if you mean just playtime with toys around and you're kind of petting your puppy and they're doing zoomies, yes, you're definitely going to get biting with most puppies. So it should be always you regulating energy, calm and controlled, and make sure if I'm working with a wild puppy, I'm like, break, I might move it a little, good, wait for them to drop it, and my energy is lower. I do understand you'll still get puppies that bite hands, and when you're working with a tug toy, you just try to switch. You just try to switch for the other side. Play around with different types of toys. No squeakers if you're getting a ton of drive and a ton of bitiness, okay? Now let's talk about the other thing. So training. So when you're training your puppy, let's say you're holding the leash with one hand and they're getting really, really bitey. You can use the leash to be like, hey, knock it off. Make sure your energy is calm so you're not like, good food, because that's clearly not going to work if your puppy is biting you like crazy, being too excited to focus on the food. So there's one aspect of it, and then the other aspect of it is how you're holding the food. So a lot of times we just hold it between our fingers, like we'll do stay, or I might hold it this way, and we do sit and down. I got like the duck face going on. That's typical, but if you're getting mouthed to death, let's switch it up. Let's hold the food in a more of a closed fist, or between your fingers a little bit, and then close your fist and just hold it in front of your puppy, like softly. No, don't look like you're gonna punch him. Just a soft hold, but you are making a fist. So let's say you do sit, good, and hold it like this, and you're gonna get gnawed on. And you can be like, no, a little bit with the leash, or kind of like, hey, and you can bump into them a little bit if you think that will work. Some puppies, it will just amp them up, but you can play around with that. Wait till you get kisses. And then when you get kisses, the hand magically opens up to reveal the food, and your puppy will pick up on that. It will pick up on that. And just do calmer exercises. Like when you do come, it's not puppy come, yay! It's puppy come, good, release food, sit, good, release food. So really regulate your energy, and hopefully those tips are gonna go a long way in helping your puppy calm down. Okay, moving on. Now I've switched all around. I don't even know what I've gone over. Let's see here. I think I went over those. I think I am to Brenda. Brenda has such a good question, a hard question. And it is a puppy question. And it's more common than you think. Hi, Puppy Academy. I don't know if you'll see this message or not, but I'd like to know if you could send me to any videos or recommendations, because I'm having a problem with my sister's dog. The problem is, whenever he gets something like a toy or food in his mouth, he starts growling. He wants to bite. He's 4 months old. How can I stop that situation? Thank you so much. So, this is a tough one. Let me go ahead and put out my disclaimer, is I do think that you should seek some one-on-one assistance with this. This is not an uncommon thing. Your puppy's not bad. It does tell you that there's a bit of a genetic disposition for your puppy to want a resource guard. Resource guard is something of value that they're guarding. It could be a blanket, it could be their space, it could be a number of things. And if you look up videos of 8-week-old puppies, you'll find them doing that to each other. If the mom isn't a really present, female and tells them to knock it off. So this can happen. This can happen with a lot of different breeds, are more prone to it. Or it could be some cute little doodle at home doing it. It could be a number of reasons why. So let's get into how to work on it. One of the first ways for a puppy, well, for any dog, you have to stop being combative. So you don't realize this, but every time your puppy gets possession of a toy and they run to the corner of the room and you pursue them, you are challenging them. And you're forcing them to make a decision of some sort. And so they'll sometimes choose to escalate or swallow the toy or play chase around the room and not let you catch them or get mouthy. Your dog is choosing aggression. or testing you with aggression, which is also kind of a natural common thing. But it is a red flag. It's a red flag that this puppy is being challenged too much for the type of puppy that it is. Another puppy might be no big deal, but for this puppy, it's too much. So you have to set yourself up where, one, this rarely happens while you work on it in other ways, like focusing on drop it and building a relationship with them of respect and pausing at thresholds and crate training. And there's how you work on resource guarding, 90% of it is not on the resource guarding. So let me make that super clear. And that's what a trainer will come in and help you with one-on-one, all the different ways to build that respect outside of the actual moments it happens. But anyway, when it does happen, and you want to avoid that as much as possible, but when it does happen, let's make sure when your puppy is out of crate, that, in my opinion, would only be when you're working with your puppy, walking your puppy, or playing like an interactive play with your puppy. Now, I know that that's really hard for some people. Let's say that the puppy's having a little bit of free time, at least put a leash on him. So you could use a slip leash, or you could use a leash clipped to flat collar, or a harness if you want. But the puppy is dragging a leash around the house. Now, you're not using it to train. This is just if you give your puppy free time, even though, to me, this puppy shouldn't have free time for several weeks. But let's say you don't have a choice, you've given your puppy free time, and they grab something and go to the corner of the room. Instead of acting like it's a big deal, why don't you just look at your puppy, take a deep breath, turn your body to the side. What time is it? Ooh, I'm not doing too bad. Turn your puppy to the side, or your body to the side, and just kind of sidestep in and just act like you don't care. It's not that big of a deal. And then another side step, and then another side step. You're gonna have to kind of corner them a bit, but this is pressure. Just looking at your puppy, like if I look right into the camera lens, it's a little creepy, right? It's gotta be. So that is pressure to your puppy, and especially if you're facing directly, that's even more pressure. So we do the turn to the side. Don't show the back. You don't wanna show your back. There is a very important in between here where you're to the side, and then step on the end of the leash. Even if your puppy's twisted up on it, there's gotta be some of it on the floor. Step on the end of the leash, the very, very end that you can get to, and then wait for a second. Take a breath, squat down, pick up the leash, take a breath, and then do pressure right up in the air as close to the puppy as you can get at that point, because this should be a bit crisper and quicker, and do pressure right up in the air. And then if you happen to have food on you, you can do a bit of a trade, or at this point, if your puppy's on the smaller side, I didn't see what type of puppy it is, but if your puppy's on the smaller side, this is where you can take it out of their mouth. Do not grab the body, do not pick up, do not like face your puppy and be like, no, give it here. I mean, all of this stuff in the dog world, it is gonna lead to more aggression. One of my favorite clients is this beautiful Aussie. They are the sweetest people in the whole wide world. They were so soft, honestly, really soft, with a really driven Aussie. And they created resource guarding because this Australian Shepherd was very wily and feisty and loved to steal things and run with it. But at the end of that run, they would eventually get frustrated and just be like, ugh, and grab the puppy, take it out of its mouth. Grab the puppy, take stuff out of its mouth. Well, this happened for months without them adapting to a different method and working on drop it and having the puppy drag around the leash so they didn't grab the puppy and just pull things out constantly. So what happened is by the time the puppy was 6, 7, 8 months old, it started snapping at them. Then it started getting insecure. You can create resource guarding when your puppy keeps having access to things and running with it, and you're chasing it down into a corner and taking it from them. You can actually create it. So this leash method is much more passive. I could also just grab the leash and walk away to the kitchen and be like, sit, food, and hopefully they drop the toy and give them food. Now, if it's happening with food, I'm not sure, because you say toys and food, and probably socks and things. I'm not sure about the food. Like, what type of food? Is he getting human food and running away with it or growling? Or do you mean growling over food bowl? That's probably what you meant. If he's growling over food bowl, then I'm always in possession of a food bowl. So there's two things you can do. Half the time, only feed from your hand through training. Part of the other way of working on this is through relationship. The other half of the time, put a few pieces of kibble in the food bowl, stand up straight, have your puppy sit, good, break, give it to him. You have to kind of bend over or squat down. They eat it all up. Lift the food bowl up. Good. Pour a little bit more into it. Break, give it back to them. So you become the giver of the food. It's never in their possession. Now this is a big deal. I could talk about this for a whole hour all by itself. All I've done is given you some tips on how to prevent constantly having to challenge your puppy and how to manage it. If they do get something, they should be on leash. There's just no way around it. It's crucial to this. And then some other ways to work on it outside of the situation itself, like thresholds and training and relationship and respect and no furniture and crate. It's a deep dive. Brenda, it's a deep dive, but hopefully this gives you a good starting point. Okay, let's do some shorter questions. How do I practice being calm? Puppy growls and barks while laying on place, from Muttley the boxer. Well, first of all, you got a boxer. Sorry. I'm guessing this barking is demand excited barking. That's what I'm guessing. That's what I mean by that. For anybody who doesn't know boxers, I'm guessing it's pay attention to me. I have so much energy. So let's try to do several fast repetitions in a row. Kind of drain a little bit of that edge off, but don't be excited. Guys, there is such a huge difference in doing place, break, good, place, break, good, place, break, good, and place, good job, puppy come, yay, good. No excitement, just crisp, faster repetitions, then slow him down dramatically, where it's like place, walk around, blocking if he gets off place, move in, hey, no, get your puppy on a leash if you haven't done that, and then very much calmer, that's not a sentence, but you know what I mean, very much calmer, do a release. Instead of doing like break, which is excited, let's go, good, calm turn, pause, place, then slow things down dramatically. Work him for 15 to 20 minutes, fast and slow, before even doing place duration. But this is kind of what I mentioned with the lady with the resource guarding, Brenda, in the sense of demand barking is honestly more worked on outside of the situation it's happening. If you go back to my very first question that I answered, I think it was the first one, I talked about calm and crate, how to let the dog out of crate, utilizing the crate door as a threshold to give you leverage to calm your dog down. That's the kind of stuff you need to be doing to work on this demand barking. A lot of the whining, I would honestly let go. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna assume that your puppy's under 6 months old, and I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Feel free to come back, Muttley, with some more details and how this next week goes. And if food is amping your dog up, your puppy up, stop using food. Just use body language. Good. Maybe he can't even handle good. I've looked at plenty of boxers and I go, good. And they're like, yeah, I'm great. No. Maybe you need no food and no good marker words. Just do the work and the body language, because maybe just your presence is enough excitement. So there's all these tweaks you can make, even with puppies. All right, Monica says, my puppy comes, why my puppy comes in my way? I want him to let him walk. Tips? Oh, don't stop walking around him. Truly, if my puppy gets in my way, I bump him out of my way. Now I might do a little bit better leash guidance. I don't know how old your puppy is. I might do some better leash guidance to teach him where I want him. That's usually food marker words. But if your puppy keeps cutting you off, you're probably going around your puppy. You need to go through your puppy without stepping on him and hurting his little toe. But you can bump him out of the way. Practice this in the house on leash before expecting it outside. All right, Charlene. Charlene, might be Charlene, do you recommend using bell hanging on the door for puppies to ring when they need to pee? Well, if Sparky was here, he would tell you absolutely no, never, no how, no way. I'm nicer than Sparky. And so I say I do know people and trainers who have used this method very successfully, even from a really young age with the puppy. However, this is the trap you fall into. Well, how most people fall into this trap, that's why Sparky is against it, is because people start to depend on the bell after a few weeks, or for some reason they think that if the bell works a few times that their puppy has it, and that's not the case. It is 6 months. If you're doing from the time you get your puppy to 6 months old, it is 6 months of you still walking your puppy to the door, having them ring the doorbell, and then taking them out. It's still that process. Because what happens is if you get a few bell knocks, you know, on the like the puppy does it to let you know, they're like, yes, and then they wonder why they have accidents after that, because you're waiting on them to tell you, and that's not the case. The brain doesn't tell the body that it needs to pee for a puppy until they're about 5-6 months old. So I know sometimes you get lucky, but during daylight, their circadian rhythm, I think I said that right, their sun moon rhythm, during sunlight hours, they just don't have that ability until they're about 5-6 months old. I know some of you got lucky probably, and it's easy for you, but a lot of puppies don't. So they don't get any time to tell you. And then a lot of times they do it just to go outside, and you don't really know that till you play around. So you have to make sure you're still on a structured schedule. So I'll just be clear with that, and I'll let it go. Any trusted puppy boarding facility in the nearby vicinity?
I can message him a couple.
Ricky's going to message you. I'm the real PBJ. Okay. She's going to tell you. All right. Charlene Irvine. Oh, no. Charlie Irvine. 9-week-old border pup, very protective, scared, threatened of new and big dogs. Woo! How do I stop this? This is a baby. 9 weeks old? This is a baby. Put no pressure on this baby at all. When you see a big dog, I want you to turn and go in the other direction. Until you can get your 9-week-old puppy to take food from you and at a good distance, you shouldn't be anywhere near big dogs. You have tons of relationship to build up in this puppy, where your puppy looks to you for everything. And then you want to, if your puppy is on a walk, 9 weeks old, I don't know, maybe you're going into the front yard or something, and you see a big dog, turn around, pressure off. And then when the big dog walks by, you can have your puppy turn around and look at the big dog again, turn around, look at you, sit, turn around, look at the big dog. So you're doing let's go work. You're doing these 180s, these turns to do pressure on, pressure off, pressure on, pressure off, but no greeting whatsoever. If this is 9 weeks old, this is partially a genetic issue as well. And what I mean by that is you got a nervous puppy. Out of the litter, you got some pushy ones, some middle of the road ones, some nervous ones. You got a nervous one, and I really think you need to seek some one-on-one help right away. Border collie pup, border pup, yeah, I'm really sorry, Charlie, but you need some one-on-one help ASAP. Just trust me, okay? All right. Sergeant says, bringing home a puppy next week, what's the most important thing to implement? Crate, structure schedule, and feeding from your hand. There you go. DM us for our structure schedule. All right, let's see. How am I doing? Oh, I'm right at 1:30. Let me try to squeeze in this one. Tip to train puppies who are not food motivated. Oh, okay.
I can send them a video that we did last week.
Okay, so we just did a video last week on this, and Ricky is going to send you, little Nami dog, is going to send you that video. Is there a guideline for what a puppy should know by an X amount of months, like a certain amount of months? Not really, because puppies are incredible sponges. You should teach sit, down, place, come, crate, all in the first week. And they can learn that like that with food work. Lots of food work, 3 to 5 minutes, a few times a day, food repetitions. It's really a piece of cake. Now, waiting, stay, patience, impulse control with the door, with the crate, with food bowl, things like that take way more time. Anything that's impulse control related. So basically you teach all your basics right away. Within a few weeks, you'll have great crispness, and especially if you have a food motivated dog, and then you're just adding more control and more challenges and doing what we call proofing. So you teach all your obedience inside, then in the backyard. If you live in a condo, then in the hallway, in the parking garage, out on a walk with no distractions, with a distraction. So you see where I'm going with this. Let's see, we've got one question that I want to get to on here, I think. Mr. Teddy Pup says, how to get 5-month-old puppy to even walk on leash. He just wants to sit and admire the view. This is a really common issue, really common. And sometimes it's a bit of nervousness, and sometimes it's a bit of stubbornness. Sometimes they don't want to leave the home. There's lots of different reasons for it. So get your puppy on a leash and start working them in the house. Do turns, like you hear me talk about let's go work all the time. So it's like turn, good, food. Turn, good, food. Will you say let's go? That's our thing. But you need to do that on leash with food in the house, then in the backyard, then in the front yard, then on the walk, in the hallway of the apartment building, whatever it is. Start small, then get if it becomes a really big issue, get in your car, drive 2 blocks away, walk your puppy down there. You want to get them out as much as possible, as quickly as possible, but I know that can be really frustrating. So do some sessions in the house to warm them up to the idea. That's the biggest mistake everybody makes, is they put a leash on their puppy to go outside, and the leash should be on inside all the time when they are being supervised. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I'm not too far over, 1:33. Wasn't it nice that I finally got a word in edgewise? I mean, Sparky just talks so much and just never, I'm good at answering questions. He never lets me. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday.